Hello, I'm Vanessa Cruz.
Hi, I'm Claudia Mason, and we have Phil Salonica behind the scenes as producer joining us.
We connected as coaches through ICF Austin, and we launched this podcast called
Coaching Chronicles, unleashing your true potential and redefining what's possible.
Join us as we unravel the transformative power of coaching for leaders, professionals, and curious minds alike.
Where we dive into captivating conversations with expert coaches, leaders, and professionals who will share their stories, experiences, and wisdom on overcoming life's challenges. Discover the art of guiding others towards success and witness the enchanting synergy between personal growth and professional achievement. Episode 9, in fact, of ICF Austin Coaching Chronicles. And today's topic is on health, beauty, and wellness. And I am delighted to be joined by our episode's guest, Renata Estevez. Hello, Renata.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
We're thrilled to have you here. Renata is IIN certified integrative nutrition health coach, clean beauty advocate, and content creator. She's the founder of Bellezza Organica, a groundbreaking holistic lifestyle initiative established in 2011. Renata has been on a mission to empower women with the knowledge of cosmetic safety and guide them toward healthier beauty routines on a whole. As a coach, her passion lies in supporting women to overcome skin, food, and respiratory allergies by detoxing both body and mind. Her goal is to inspire women to simplify their lives, eat delicious food and nourishing foods, reduce stress and toxic exposure, and subsequently live a vibrant and extraordinary life. Yay, I love it. Sign me up. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Renata, what comes up at first when I read that and when I was thinking about having you on the podcast is what brought you to realize the importance of healthy eating, healthy living, healthy lifestyle?
I think it comes with my own personal health journey. And it was a very organic process, I would say. When I was in my 20s, I had a little scare, which was like I had a herniated disc that ruptured, which was very unusual for somebody my age and my physical condition. And I had to learn how to overcome that. They wanted to perform surgery. I didn't want to do surgery. So I said, no, there's got to be a better way to do this. And that's when I first changed my lifestyle. It all came from there. I started eating better, started doing acupuncture, chiropractic treatments. And I went and I started my journey, which I'm still on because it is a journey and it never ends. And I had to learn how to cope with like pain. So pain management, stress management, learn how to like stretch properly, exercise, give my body the right food so that I wouldn't get inflamed. So, I mean, suffering prompted me to get into this path, but I'm so grateful because I don't know how I would be today if I haven't gotten into that lifestyle. So it's a lifestyle and I never look back and I just explored with different things throughout the years, different diet theories, I'm always exploring and changing things. And on top of that, I also would like to say that another very important thing for me was my skin, because somehow I've always been very sensitive and allergic with my skin. And I've always felt like beauty products, personal care products always irritated my skin. And I always had some kind of like respiratory thing going on when I was younger. And I started to pay attention. And as I cleaned my lifestyle, I started to really get in touch with what kind of things I was putting in my body, including I was putting on my skin. So diet is something that, it's obvious. Everybody knows that if you eat well, you're going to feel better. But I started paying attention to the products I was using. I've always been very, always loved skincare and things like that. But I remember like this one day that I smelled the product and I was like, this doesn't smell natural at all. It smells the chemical smell is so strong. I was like, that's got to be a different way. What's in this? And I started paying attention to the labels. And that got me on like a rabbit hole that I never I got out of.
You know what? It's interesting to me. What jumps out is when you said, well, first of all, you were speaking about having a dis-ease. Your own health was at stake. And so that made you question and be aware of certain things, as you were saying. Because I'm interested in what really got you passionate about this. So that totally makes sense. And you also said something that I thought was interesting. Well, everyone knows. You said, well, everyone knows that certain things are not good for you. Does everyone know? Because I was raised in a household to know, because my mother was ahead of her time. Were you also raised that way, that to then think that everyone knows? Because unfortunately, not everyone knows. We need people like you. Tell me more about your upbringing with holistic wellness.
True. Thanks for reminding me. So yeah, I did not grow up with the standard American diet. I grew up in Brazil. That's where I'm originally from. And I was very lucky that at my home, my mom would always make sure that we have real food on the table. And that meant home cooked meals, fruits, vegetables, lots of rice and beans, because it's very popular. That's how what I grew up eating. Lots of fish, lots of fresh things, not so much red meat. So that's kind of like, that was my normal. I mean, for me to have Coca-Cola, it was something that it would be like a once a month that my mom would buy like a 1 liter bottle maybe for us to enjoy. And that was about it. And I thought that was normal. And that's pretty, back then, I guess, it was relatively normal, I would say. I cannot say that. I think, unfortunately, things that have evolved to more of a fast food center culture as the years went by. But back then, that didn't was too many products. And interesting enough, it was because of a political situation. I mean, it was the end of the dictatorship that we've had in Brazil from 1964 to 1985. And within that time period, we didn't have imports. So we didn't have all this fast food or junk things or packaged foods that we wouldn't have access to it. And interestingly enough, it was a blessing.
It was a blessing. So do you think that later on, when you were an adult and you had this certain wellness crisis, health crisis that made you aware of things, it was almost like you were reminded of your childhood? Do you think those certain values were instilled in you?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the first year, especially that when I moved to the US, I went to New York as a young adult to work in fashion. And I live a very stressful lifestyle. I didn't have time to cook so much. And I started living the culture with all the good and the bad things. And it took me a little while to get to the point of you know what, I kind of miss a home cooked meal. And I didn't know how to cook back then. So I started calling my mom, how do I make this? And then I little by little started to bring back my origins and try to get back into that. But I never really forgot. I always thought it was strange to walk into the supermarket and see aisles and aisles and aisles full of packaged foods. That was so foreign to me. It still is. Even after so many years.
Yes, and tell us why that is foreign. Again, I understand what you're saying, but because you and I have a similar way of our mothers raised us in a similar way, but most people through the Americas, North America, where I'm from, South America, where you're from, I mean, the Western world is the packaging and the toxins. What is it? Can you tell the audience about the importance? Why is it so important to eat well? And what does healthy eating look like?
Okay, so I would say as a broad, if you wanted to simplify, because I'm all about simplifying all my practice. I always try to reduce the overwhelm for my clients. If you could if you could go shopping and most of your food come from the vegetable fruit aisle, perhaps meat, dairy, and things like that, and stay away from the center of the supermarket where the packaged thing is. If you could try to make this exercise and reduce the amount of things you buy that are packaged, you're already going to be better off in your diet. That's for sure. That's a very simple thing that a person can do. Just create this awareness. Why do we have to eat something that comes out of a box? Because animals in nature don't eat something that comes out of a box. And with packaged food, it comes preservatives, it comes natural flavors. They call them natural flavors. In theory, they are synthetic compounds that mimic the natural flavors that tend to be, they are engineered to make it very delicious and very addictive. But that's not how things come in nature. And then I see sometimes what makes me sad that I go shopping in the supermarket. And just the other day, I was buying a parsnip, or a turnip or a ginger, and the cashier doesn't know what it is to ring it up. That has happened to me so many times.
So many times.
And I'm like baffled because I'm like, this, a turnip, this is origin, like it comes from here. I didn't grow up eating turnips, but here I try to eat seasonally. So I eat what I find here. And there you go. And then is this disconnection between where your food comes from, what it looks like, and what you actually eat.
And that is,
the box.
Sorry, that is so important, because when we eat well, how does it affect our health? I mean, it's so obvious to you and I, but can you just say it again? How we eat, the quality of food that we eat, the type of food, when we eat, seasonally even, not just time of day. Why is that so important for keeping our looks, which we're going to get to, the beauty and the organs and the health?
I mean, it's like you got to put the right fuel into your body in order for you to feel well. I mean, the correlation is just that I think people are so used to perhaps not eating well that their bodies become burdened, their liver becomes toxic, that they can't process, the digestion system gets burdened. We got dysbiosis, like an imbalance of bacteria in your gut. And all of those things start feeling, it's just like almost the norm nowadays, what I see here in America. And it makes me sad because it doesn't have to be like that. Again, if you keep it simple, if you eat real food, fruits, vegetables, a little bit of dairy, perhaps a little bit of meat, preferably grass-fed meat, free range, not free range. Oh my God, I forgot the word because it's like pasture-raised eggs. Exactly. Thank you. I forgot the word.
That's okay.
If you focus on that, your body will automatically feel better because that was designed to eat. And I mean, forget about, I'm not even getting into specific theories, gluten-free or dairy-free or whatever. There's all kinds of food sensitivities happening as well. But I think there's a lot of research that's coming out saying that food sensitivities come because the digestive system is not working properly. And why is it not working properly? Because you continue to feed it the wrong, and I wouldn't say wrong because I don't like wrong, but like the things that were not evolution. The evolution did not design us to digest those things.
Right. And then environment, which so much is what you're about too. How does the environment play in? Glyphosate, et cetera, the knowledge about, and no, we're not bashing certain companies here on our lovely podcast, but we're informing the public about why it's so important to eat the organic, pasture raised, et cetera, foods, because when the sprays are sprayed onto the farm lands and the crops, what does that do to the food? And then what does it do to the food that we're ingesting?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. Because, I mean, you have the two things. One thing is like the food originally was meant to be. And there is what the food has been genetically modified to be. And unfortunately, genetically modified organisms, I think if you're not even going to talk about, I mean, people might question that there's enough research to say that GMOs are bad for you. However, there's one thing that I think it's the biggest argument against it, which is they have been designed to withstand more pesticides and still survive. So when you think about that and the amount of glyphosate or pesticides that are sprayed, for example, on wheat, which is the biggest crop ever that, within historically, that's we're meant to be feeding the masses. And then you see this, everybody exposed to it. And that's just one thing. And I mean, there's hundreds of different pesticides that are used in America. I think in Europe, for sure, they are more conscious of it. And I think the legislation has been allowing for reducing the number of substances that are allowed to be used there. Now, the new one that I'm very concerned in America that's coming out, and then they're doing a lot of marketing around it, it's called Appeal. And I know we didn't want to talk about companies, but it's important to say, because I think you should start paying attention. They're going to want to put spray something on your fruits and vegetables as if that's going to protect them more than they're already being designed to be protected. I mean, if the fruit and vegetable is fresh, and it's going to go bad when it's going to go bad. Why would you want to spray with something to help preserve the shelf life of something that was not what nature intended to do? So that's another thing that really we got to start paying attention, and that's why I'm bringing it up. But the whole thing comes about quality, and that's what I'm all about. I think not only what you eat or what you put on your skin, but the thing is, you got to pay attention that if you know where your food comes from, and I highly recommend people to like start going to the farmers markets to see what's in season, and work, possibly order food from like CSAs, which is like the cooperatives, and that you can order your food from. This comes.
CSA stands for
just. You know what? I forgot.
Oh, that's okay. We'll okay.
It's just the co-ops, the farm food co-ops that they deliver food. Then you can pick up a box once a week or once a month or whatever the frequency that you want. You buy in advance what you commit to buy in advance from those farmers for like 6 months. So you pay in advance, but it ends up being cheaper than your shopping trips. So it's very
important. Because healthy eating and wellness, everyone, does not mean you have to break the bank, period. Absolutely. That is a false narrative from the companies that are making a lot of money off of keeping you ill from the GMO toxic sprayed foods.
Absolutely.
So, it doesn't have to break the bank. We have to just educate ourselves. And thank God we have people in the world to work with, to hire, like Renata, who is just full of all of this incredibly important information to keep the human organism and the planet strong.
Yeah. If you buy what's in season, it's usually cheaper because it's in abundance. And if it's buy local, so being local and seasonal, if you eat local and seasonal, it would tend to be cheaper. I mean, of course, you can eat an organic passion fruit that comes from across the world. And yeah, that's going to be expensive because it's been shipped from across the world. But if you pay attention and you buy kale when it's in season, it's super cheap. So then you have to just start thinking about things. It's about getting out of the automatic pilot and just question everything. It's just like, take everything with a grain of salt. Start paying attention. I know we live busy lives and it's easy to just get in the store and like there's certain preferences. Food comes with like emotional baggage. So we always have these foods that we're connected with what we used to eat when we were kids, and we tend to eat the same foods. And think about this. The other thing that I think people don't talk about enough is diversity of the diet. People have to eat different things in order to feed the different bacteria in your gut. And then the more diverse, the healthier you're going to be.
You know what you make me think of? You just smile. It's like my mom. You're like a younger version of my beloved mom sitting here. She would always say, variety, variety. We need 7 vegetables on that plate. And I'd be like, oh, but boy, am I grateful for it.
Right? Well, look at you.
Thank you. And I'm going to transition into that right now. One of the reasons I look so wonderful, and Renata does for our beautiful, youthful ages, is because of how we eat. And of course, there's other components to that. But let's get into the beauty a little, Renata. You have such information. You are so knowledgeable. And one of the other arms of your industries, your branches of your profession as a coach, is on clean beauty. Of course, as a former supermodel, it's everything to me. What we are putting on our skin. And men, don't tune out now, because there are a lot of products for men out there. Topical. So please tell us about this. It's a huge subject, but I want to hear from you why this is so important.
I'll give you a couple. I know it's a huge subject and we don't have much time, but I'll try to give you the gist of what I think it's important to know. Number one thing to think about is our skin is our largest organ, and whatever we put on our skin will end up in our bloodstream. So, wow. That's something that you have to try to keep in mind. And the other thing I want to talk about is the amount of products people use per day. Because just recently, there was EWG, which is the Environmental Working Group, which is a great resource to find out about clean cosmetics if you ever need.
That's right.
For anybody who's listening. And they just came up with a new research, which was they redid this research from independent lab. Researched over 2,000 people about their habits. And guess what? Men have doubled the amount of products that they use since 2004.
I'm sorry.
Yes. So on the other hand, the products have a little bit less substances, but let's just talk about how many there are. So there's over 80,000 substances that I use in personal care, and very little amount of them, meaning you can count on probably one hand, have been properly tested for safety. When they have been tested for safety, they have been tested for safety individually. They're not accounting for the prolonged exposure, the the interaction with other products. They're not understanding how much of that product that person is going to use. And that has not been followed. So you can say, yeah, that substance is safe at that quantity, at that percentage for using humans. But you don't understand how your body's processing that and what else is going to be exposed to. And let's talk about what you're exposed to. It's not only the air. We're talking about the things that are inside of our home. We're spending more time at home than ever since the pandemic. A lot of people are working from home. People don't talk about the indoor quality of your air. We have to have fresh air coming in with negative ions to help absorption of oxygen. People don't think about that. And then people use all kinds of chemical products in their home, a lot of times toxic, cleaning products, laundry detergent. Don't even get me started on fabric softener, because I'm like, that, I don't see the purpose for that product. And it's just like the industry creates the need. It's a marketing based industry that creates the need for you to buy a product that you don't need.
Not only do you not need it, it's harming our health.
And it's also harming your health. And it drives me nuts that even though we have some legislation to kind of regulate this industry, a lot of it in theory, like in practice, it's self-regulated because there's no teeth. The companies don't get prosecuted for allowing a specific compound, a chemical compound that is toxic to be in their products. And then you see like people, and then the rise in cancer, the rise in autoimmune disease, the rise in allergies. And do you think it is not related with the amount of products that we're using?
Is it the amount the amount of products that we're using topically, that we're ingesting the certain food, as you've just said, I'm summarizing, the air, the earth that the crop is being grown in. I mean, the water. So this is all vital to keeping the body thriving and healthy, so that you don't attract dis-ease, and that eventually, Renata, which you can of course expand on, will cost people more money. I want to just make sure, because I'm so kind of tired of hearing, oh, but you have to have a lot of money to eat well and to have natural beauty care. No. You know what will cost more money? When you use the stuff that is harming you, that is more readily available and maybe cheap, that will give you down the line dis-ease. And then you're going to pay how many thousands of dollars in doctor's bills to keep yourself alive?
Unfortunately, so it's the correlation. Yeah.
Right. And this is where you come in. We need you and people like you to help spread the awareness, to question, the knowledge is just not there. They're misinformed and they're underinformed, generally, the population.
Well, I'll tell you that the knowledge is there. The problem is the industry, the marketing, and the misinformation is out there as well. There's too much, so people are like, okay, so what do I eat? Sometimes I hear clients say, oh, okay, so what the heck do I eat? And I'm like, look, again, keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's all about returning to the origin. So, it's like the slow food movement, same for the slow beauty movement, which I'm all about. It's about eating more consciously, putting things in your skin more consciously, using products that are better quality. And when I say products, I mean minimally processed, and see where they come from. And the economy is also, everything is important. So you're helping the whole planet, you're helping yourself, you're helping your health. Everything is related to that.
Yes. Let me just interrupt. Thank you from our my podcast facilitator. My God, from Phil behind the scenes. CSA that Renata Estevez had mentioned before for everyone is community supported agriculture. And I'm not sure what Phil said here about Ozempic. Right. Sorry, Renata, were you going to say?
No, that's okay. I think he's asking about, talk about Ozempic and how people want to lose weight fast, right?
Yes.
So for example, I don't like to work with people that just want to lose weight. There, I said it. I'm not discriminating, I promise, but I want somebody that wants to look into their whole health. So losing weight will be a consequence. But if it's your only focus, you're focused on the wrong thing. And the tools that you're going to be using, if you're like want to do a fast track on that, are probably going to harm you. I mean, right now, just research is coming out about certain drugs that people are using out there that can be helping with losing weight. But guess what? We have natural substances, and we even have supplements that can help assist the body to do the work, to function properly. So then when your whole body functions properly, you're going to have a more natural weight. That's what it's all about. But people just want the fast. No, I have a wedding, I have an event, I want to lose weight fast. I'm like, look, let's talk about investing on your health for the rest of your life. Because if we try to like tweak your habits a little bit, and it doesn't take that much, you just try, it's a little bit of knowledge so a person gets conscious about what they are doing, understanding what habits they are ready to let go of, because everybody has their own process, their own. I have to work with people at their own time. We have to meet people where they're at. People might not be ready to change their whole life. But guess what? Once you start introducing a few really interesting and healthy habits, for instance, drinking water, drinking clean water, which is so important, not just like tap water, which is not clean. Go look into the water quality of your county, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Scary.
So ideally, you will be drinking distilled water, reverse osmosis water, spring water from a clean source. So that alone, sometimes by hydration, can boost a person's metabolisms in the right way. That can get them where they want to be, and they will naturally start, stop the sugar cravings, and they'll. I'm just giving one example. Sometimes hydration, because a person sometimes feels like they're hungry and they eat out of boredom, out of habit, out of anxiety. And then, for example, if you're just like, okay, let's drink a good cup of water when you feel that. And I'm all about, let's get in touch with how you're feeling.
Yes.
Even your skin too. How's your skin feeling today? What does your skin need? Do you need more hydration, less hydration? Oh, yes. I didn't have a good night of sleep. It's going to show.
So let me ask you, because we have some minutes left with you, and I'm telling you, we have to have you back for a longer extensive, because my brain is just exploding with ideas that I'd love you to guide the audience on. But in terms of wrapping up for now, Renata, can you give us, if you can, like what a day in the life, because most people are meat eaters out there. So what would 3 meals a day, what would be an example of a 3 meal a day that you think would be good? Again, there's no one right exact way for everyone. And then could you also show us, out of the millions of tools that you have at your disposal for your clients, for beauty, those who are interested in, because we don't believe, those who are interested in keeping the youthful skin without injections, what an example exercise would be. Could you do those two things, an example day for a meat eater?
Let's see how much time we have.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If there's like breakfast, boom, 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 lunch, boom, boom, boom,
I'll
dinner,
talk about,
and then...
one thing that I like to talk about is strategies for success, setting up for success. So to start a day, for example, with a smoothie, it's a great way. And I'm not talking about a smoothie I was mixing just two things. I'm talking about fruit, vegetables, spinach, whatever it is, like some green. If you cannot stand it, maybe some green powder, dehydrated green powder. If you don't want the that texture. I like to include superfoods and things that I can like really nourish you. You can do like a little vegetable protein, pea protein, or for people who do animal protein, you can do whey protein. And then you can start the day already with like 3 to 4 servings of fruits and vegetables in there, quick. That's a great way to start a day. After drinking some water, of course. And then if you still feel hungry, then you can have an early lunch. And then you can do like, I like to have like a gluten-free toast or homemade bread, or even store-bought. That's something that could be a little snack with like nice like almond butter, for example, which is something which is a good fat. And then we can have as a snack. And then we can have, I don't like this whole thing of a snacking, just crudité, stuff that's like just fibery and not flavorful. I think it's like, for a lot of people, it's problematic. And then you have like a lunch, you try to have like a nice salad. And for people who don't like salad, I'll say warm up your salad. Like slowly blanch, like some romaine lettuce, for example, with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit of like soy sauce or something like that. We'll give you some flavor. You're still getting the benefits, minimum cooking. I mean, just quickly blanching. You're still maintaining some of those enzymes and a lot of those nutrients, but it doesn't have the feel of eating something raw for people that don't like that. So that's another thing to do. And then have some clean protein, whether it's fish, whether it's chicken, whether it's like a grass-fed beef, and you just do like a portion of that, not a crazy amount, a portion, whatever it's for your weight and for your needs. Of course, it varies depending on your age and your dietary needs. And then for dinner, I love to have like a hearty soup because it's easy. You just throw something like on a slow cooker or an Instapot, and you just have that, and there you go. So you already gave you like some ideas of something that's quick. You can always steam vegetables. There's another way I like, because it takes 5 minutes to steam vegetables.
Yeah.
And you can do that so quickly and easily.
And there's so much protein that comes from not just animal protein, for those people who believe they
nuts
only
and
can
seeds.
get protein.
I like nuts and seeds, hemp seeds, all kinds of seeds and nuts. They're wonderful snacks, and they can give flavor. And it's all about setting up your fridge with like nice flavorful things, to like condiments and things that can make your food nice and delicious. Because if it's bland, you're not going to like it. And you're not going to do it. So let's make it delicious. And there's so many ways of doing it deliciously without too much oil, too much bad oil. Let's just focus on good oils like coconut, olive oil, avocado, and things like that. So those are a quick note.
Yes, the oleic acid oils, and instead of the linoleic seed oils are not good. The oleic, I always forget that name, but the avocado, the olive, and the coconut, as you said, are good. Forget about the safflower and the sunflower.
Yeah,
and
no
the
sunflower. Yeah, no canola seed. Canola, which is rapeseed, I cannot stand that. That's
so bad.
Genetically modified, super processed in the extraction. It's it's not good for you. It would basically bring antioxidant. It's like the opposite of having. It's like free radicals in your body, inflammation that comes with it. That's totally unnecessary.
Exactly. Clogging the arteries and and then creating perhaps disease. And Renata, could you kindly give us an example of, the healthy holistic beauty exercise or tool? For instance, if someone was going to use a gua sha, or not even, maybe just their hands, is there something quickly that you would want to demonstrate, or even a tip? My mother used to say, to give you an example of a quick tip, that it's healthy to put, as gross as this sounds, egg, like scramble up an egg and put it in your hair and put on a cap and let it sit.
Okay, I'm not a fan of the egg. I'm not a fan of the egg, but I am a fan of the fruits. Sometimes what we can easily do, you can eat fruit and you can put the fruit in your body as a mask. It's so quick, and you just wash it and you put your regular sunscreen and your facial moisturizing sunscreen, and you're good to go. Yeah. It's so simple. Why do you have to buy something that costs hundreds of dollars in the store if it will have the concentration of antioxidants and phytochemicals will be greater on the real thing? That's what people don't get. So I would say, like, if you could focus more on less is more, less products. I know we love having a cute little products in the bathroom, and, it's so beautiful. We grew up thinking that's an ideal luxury. I mean, we come from an industry that's fashion and beauty. It's like I always thought those beautiful jars with like fancy names, and they smell all this thing. Guess what? Fragrance alone, it's like worse than secondhand smoke. Fragrances can be. It's usually a proprietary formula. It can be anything. It can be more than thousands of substances there, mostly toxic. And people think, oh, but I like the thing because it smells so good. It smells so good, but it's hurting you. It's hurting your hormones. It's a hormone disrupting. Fragrance is, like, for me, is the one thing that you should try to be not use.
Except find ones that have essential oil base. There's certain ones like Le Labo, the company, and I
know what, Claudia? I love essential oils, but they have to be properly used. And I feel like there's a lot of misuse with that. And I'll tell you what, it can create a lot of allergies, unfortunately, if you put it directly on your skin. So even if you're just putting like one drop and mixing with an carrier oil, I think it's something that, even though I love, if you don't know how to properly use it, it can harm you. And it can create for people that have respiratory allergies like I do. I've had issues of putting applying one product on my skin, and it had a little bit of essential oil, and I got an asthma attack.
Amazing.
Because the concentration is too much for me. So you have to like always work with a professional that knows aromatherapy. Unless you're going to put it on your diffuser, then it's okay.
Exactly. So this is extraordinary. And this is why people, if you're looking for someone to inform you, educate you, guide you as an incredibly knowledgeable coach in all of these arenas, Renata Estevez, how do people find you and reach out to you to learn how they can work with you?
So you can go on my website, bellezzaorganica.com. The same handle for Instagram, Bellezza Organica. And that's pretty much how you can find me and follow me and get in touch with me. You can send me a message anytime. I love helping people. And I love helping people in different capacities. I mean, you don't necessarily have to sign up for a one-on-one 6-month coaching program with me. I do like a la carte coaching as well. And sometimes people just want me to teach them how to cook something. How do I go from gluten-free? I need just one session to understand how that is going to change in my world. I need I'm going to be preparing like a smoothie workshop because people ask me so much, how do you do your smoothies? Because I always like posting the smoothies on Instagram and things like that. I mean, I superpower my smoothies in a way that's like beyond. And I love that. And I think it's so easy. And I want to make it easy for people. You don't want to make things complicated. You want to make it easy.
Yes.
And vibrant health equals gorgeous skin. I mean, I've never done any invasive treatments on my skin, and I'm planning on continuing like that. And I was just going to say, get in touch with yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Say kind things to yourself. Don't just look and say, oh, I look horrible. No, touch your face gently. Get a little bit of oil or whatever, like moisturizer. Massage your face, always upwardly. Gently.
Oh, and then toward the heart down here too. We go toward the heart sometimes. Remember, that's a different story. That's the next episode. That's the next episode with Renata Estevez, who I adore. Renata, this is so we're going to put in the episode what you said, the links and how people can find you. Great. And this is just, there's so much, as you know, we're just touching on some basics, but I cannot thank you enough for being our guest for this really important topic of health, wellness, and beauty. Yes, thank you so much. And thank you all. We will see you next time for ICF Austin Coaching Chronicles.
Until next time, I really hope you have the day you deserve. Love ya.
And remember, when all else fails, just keep breathing.
Thank you for joining us today on Coaching Chronicles. We hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights and practical strategies. If you enjoyed this episode, we encourage you to rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast.